Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to our afternoon session. My name is Angelina Bipi, Platform Ministries and Voice of Prayer for All Nations. And I am so glad that you have managed to join me, and to those who watch this live later, I am just so grateful that you give yourself time to listen to some of the insights that we share here. And I just want to thank God for your lives. I just want to thank God for your sacrifice that you continue to share this word of God. And I just want to encourage you, just like we did yesterday, where people I would ask questions and people would participate and people would give their insights on what they thought concerning our topic. And I found that I don't want to be just the one, giving insight here to pray. Father, I just thank you for your goodness, your Holy Spirit. We acknowledge you, God. We acknowledge you in all your fullness, oh Father. And Father, we say, may you sweep our ground are ready to receive and with understanding and to allow it. Amen. So we started a new series on Tuesday and finished identity. And now we're looking at letting go. And we looked at yesterday, we looked at uh, the dangers of not letting go. What happens when we do not let go? We also looked at why people don't let go, and some of you become a person and forgiveness is not does not benefit much the other person. Yes, it's good for them to know that they're forgiven. Maybe they'll feel free, but forgiveness is mostly for yourself because when you do not forgive somebody, what you do is you build a cage around yourself and you expect to break that cage and you are free and you free yourself. Sometimes people have mental breakdowns, mental issues because they are holding on to things that they shouldn't be holding on to. They have to be others holders. We also talked also stuff that happens. We said letting go is also about letting go um, situations and environments, even the good things. So today we want to go into looking at renewing the mind, renewing our minds. And I want renewing the mind is a very broad topic. It's a very big topic, but I want us to look at it based on the context of letting go. And how can I let go by renewing my mind? You understand? We continue to think about what happened in the past. Continue to think about all this person, and everything that you do is seen through thoughts that are in my head for me to be able to think the good thought so that I begin. Because whatever happens in my mind, our bodies follow how that I can let go by renewing my mind. Yes, so I don't want to do this by myself. Yesterday, people were interactive, and I would like to go and give a definition. What does it mean to you to let go? I would like you, if you're okay to do that, to write in the comments what it means to you to let go. What does that mean? Another question that I want to. Oh, you need to renew your mind. What do you think when pastor is preaching at church? And I want to hear your thoughts. Can you put it in the comments, please? I want to hear what that means to you, that you renew your mind. If I say, if you called me and you started telling me a problem, and I said to you, oh, you need to renew your mind. And then, so please do put in the comment section what you understand by. If you called, I'm going to just read a scripture here, and the perfect will of God. So here, the scripture is telling me that when I allow people perfect according to the will of God will help anyone. I've got any definition for this. I'll share it. Renewing my mind is to change the pattern, to change the way I perceive things, is to change the way I understand things and strongholds, to cast down things that want to exalt themselves in or somebody who hurt me in the past concerning anything in my life is to actually change the way I view my environment, my parents, the way I view my child, the veil or the cloud, renewing the mind is to think the same as Christ, to get rid of the thoughts that I used to have when I was in my by Christ, because now I am like Him. I am a new creation. Is to get rid of the thoughts that I used to have when I was not yet set free, when I was not yet born again. So how? So I asked some questions, and some of you haven't answered yet. I asked a question. I said, "What is to let go?" And we said to let go is to release something. That could be bad things. There could be seasons of Mars. It could be those soul ties. Let go of the bucket that carry. To let it go could be anything. And thank you for the contribution. Christ-like thinking, out with the old and in with the new. I love that. That's very true. Yes, that is renewing the mind is all about. It is present with the Lord. In the scripture things today, or come from there, come and stand here with me. Can't you see? I am doing a new thing. And we can only embrace that new thing that God has for us better than the thing that we had before. Everything that God brings better and blessed that we currently hold down. He actually, with us doing this. And I say that how can we renew our mind? You see, like you said, it is not enough to just tell somebody that, oh, you need to renew your mind. Because I feel like I'm kind of a person who's like, I hear a lot of things that we say in our Christian circles, that we say in church, the things that like sometimes we can throw these words out and we can do not show people how it's done. Therefore, we wonder why, as Christians, our lives remain the same. Our lives are not changing. It's because we are not actually, practically doing it. They're not being transformed. People's lives are not being changed. And I think it's because people continue to think the same way they think, expecting a different result. When people take time to to focus on to because that stronghold in their minds will be cast down. Their minds ages ago, and our lives would have been functioning and working differently. Right now will be some you are translated from is the change that happens of your nature into the new nature. But remember, just because our nature has been translated, transformed, changed, it does not necessarily mean that our thought patterns have also changed. Yes, in some circumstances, it does happen that our thought patterns actually work of transformation. You see, the word of God in Philippians 2, verse 12 says, I'm going to read Paul was saying that, oh, now that you're patient, no, itself has come with in use to actually renew your mind. He is giving you things that can actually help you really change the way you think, to change the way you see life, to change your thoughts. And God has given us these tools already that help us change our mindset, that help us let go past events by changing the way we think, by changing the way we perceive things, by changing, our mindset. And then you can say, how can I, in order to go? How can I renew my mind in order to let go? I have a few things that I've written, but they find themselves thinking upon these things and they can't help it. They can't shake it off. But what I do is I sit with the Lord and I say, Lord, I would like to visit some thoughts, with you. And I know that when you have heard so much, think about and focus about them. Sometimes it's where they're feeling hurt and they feel justified. But going back to the Lord and saying, God, I want to visit those thoughts for healing, is not as easy. But that is another way. That is one of the ways that you can actually allow yourself to renew this mind. Also, do not push the thoughts at the back of your mind or ignore it. And they think, well, because and you think it is fun, it will still affect you. This is why you see people behave situations and they'll think, oh, they've dealt with those things, but those things will still come up in a different way. In wrong with myself, where people just say, I was talking with a friend who was telling me about somebody becoming hysterical, but this, so we can try and ignore things and take them as a back of us, but these things can actually affect our present life because your decisions are based on how you think, how you feel, how you and analyze situations for you think things through before you make a decision or you are impulsive. You see what makes you anxious. You see how and if you look at how did that event affect your thinking process? Because if you were not thinking like that before and something happens and then you begin to think about your thinking process and how you can actually go back and actually and correct it in that event in that very moment so that you go back to the way you were thinking before. Another thing you can do is acknowledge that my thought processing is wrong here. My thought processing is bad, and because it's based on the unfair things that happen in my life, acknowledging that your thought process is bad, it just means that you're ready for change. You need to be true to yourself because if you're not true, you'll continue to do things and justify yourself and justify your emotions, justify your thoughts, justify the things that you do, and yet you don't other people as well. The first stage to getting out is to be true to yourself. I mean, like sometimes people find it difficult to disclose things about themselves and to be true in front of other people. But I personally, if you are a child of God and you're born again and you have a relationship with God, maybe you are learning or on the journey of having a relationship with God, I want to tell you something. The place that's most secure and the person that's most secure to go in the full presence of God us, and He already knows what will be really happening in us. Us going to open up to Him, it just shows that we trust Him. It just shows that we did this. And one thing about Him that He does not judge us. He does not judge us at all. So that is one thing you can do. I personally enjoy mirroring my thoughts with the Word of God. If I find that I'm going through a certain issue and I'm not finding just we will use this one, I'm not good enough, or I can't, or if somebody asks me to do something and I just say I can't do it, I have to sit and ask myself, why do I think I am not? Where I mean, like who? Why am I thinking that I'm not good enough? Why do I think I cannot do where I felt like that, to where my mind was to think like that, to where I started feeling inadequate? And if I don't really understand where I started feeling that way, because I'll be trying to think I'm not good enough, or what does your word say concerning my thinking process? Or I'll go on my phone and I'll God is concerning because I'll see them because they are strong, because they are lies, and I'll pull them down. You see, in my mind, it has no right to be in my mind. No right to rent space is not of God, and it cannot stand in the presence of God. And it has no time, it has no business in my mind. Anything it says, ask for anything that you wish. That means you can also ask God to help you renew your mind. If it is difficult for you to change the way you think, I normally go to God and say, God, I know that right now I'm not doing very well. Can you help me? And it's so simple, and God will just help you. Is so willing to help you. And God will show you how to renew your mind. You will actually sometimes renew your mind for you in His presence. And about Elijah, I think. I remember when I was in 2011, my landlord had told me that he wanted to sell his house, and it was just abrupt, and um, I didn't have it. And at that moment, The whole in my life, it wasn't even based in the word of God to say, ask God for anything. But I was crying. And at that moment, he changed the way I thought. And instantly, I began to to believe for a house. And I did get the house. He had already told me how to believe for my house. He had already changed how to think. I remember again um, a few years ago when I was sitting with the Lord here and I had been thinking on something. Yes, I remember what it was. Thinking on, I was so terrified of snakes. Couldn't even watch a snake on TV. I didn't even want anyone speaking about snakes because I just was terrified about sex. And I remember the Lord saying to me, what are you adventures with you? And I got in and I quickly came out. And the Holy Spirit was asking me, what are you afraid of? And I said, I'm afraid of snakes. Why are you afraid of snakes? And I started I had acquired growing up witchcraft. I said, oh, because of and he said to me, all these things that you think upon a snake are things that you have been told, are things that society has told you, things that you have learned growing up, you know. And I said, but God is so beautiful about the snake. And he said to me, it's said, what? I created it beautiful. I said, what's so beautiful about it? I wouldn't have created it. So God renewed my mind concerning snakes. He renewed the way I thought about it. She can eat you and you will die. Extreme concerning them. It's because of how the snake being the devil, lure Eve to then Adam, were based on snakes being used as witchcraft and things like that. All those things. See? So my mind got renewed concerning snakes. Am I saying that I'm not afraid of snakes anymore? I'm not saying that, but I'm saying the way I used to think about them was mental issues. When you're having mental problems, righteousness, mind is your thinking, exhibiting blessings or it's exhibiting, and you need to begin to tell your memories, that my memories are blessed. The word of God says, Philippians 4, verse 8, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things that are true, is that you need to think about the goodness of God. You need to think about the word of God. You need to think about what God has done for you. The beautiful things you see. Philippians is telling us, think upon things that are praiseworthy, joy in our lives, not to focus our minds on it. Anything that is not be pulled down. And you have been given power and authority to pull those strongholds down in your mind and to replace those strongholds with the truth of God, with the word of God. Pull them in that have been hindering progress in life. Things that I continue to just play around in my mind. Any way that I've been might exhibit the memory of the righteous is blessed. Also, God read poets and those you can fill your mind with the praise of God. You can fill your mind with the thoughts of God. You see it happen concerning the things that I think of. Yes, I said renews my mind for me when I just what the word of God says. This is what the word of God, and my mind is renewed. And I get the word of God concerning that area and I begin to plant it. And I begin to say, Lord, I want to plant this word in me, so that this where the word of God, takes precedence in that for the word of God. Let us take the word of God and think upon the good things that God has given us. Also, the main thing is, and God will begin to work with you. Because there's no way of saying, yes, I need to renew my mind, and you continue to enjoy that kind of thinking. You've got to get married, or you never amount to anything, or you never be rich. And they become to believe these things, or people who like you for a certain period and won't like to think like that. But those are just tomorrow. And I'd like you to come and also give your contributions like you did yesterday and today. Bye.